We're not allowing that energy to flow through us and be felt. So we trap it inside. And as it gets trapped inside, the longer is there and the longer we hold it in with our energy, the lower that vibration of that thing is going to get, the more and more physical that energy is going to be. And that's how we get, you know, things in our liver or cancer or this or that. And it's very, from an energy standpoint. I mean, there's also external factors, you know, physical things that happen in our world, of course, that cause cancer and things like that. There's thousands of things out there. But from an energy standpoint, if you're holding in emotions, you are looking to walk down that road of materializing those things that you should have released.
And lovely to meet you. I'm so glad you're on the show today. I'm fascinated with all things that is to do with sound healing and singing bowls and all of that. So I see that's what you do. So if you maybe just want to share a little bit
Mm-hmm.
about what it is you do and how you got started.
Okay, yeah, sure. Well, I've always been a spiritual person. So, growing up, I always kind of believed in energy healing, and I didn't have all the kind of tools and things as a kid, but it was always there that, you know, veil to the paranormal kind of thing was always apparent to me. And then in my teens, I got started kind of with meditation and things like that, and it was an eye opener for me and something that I could control a lot more. And I really got into meditation quite a bit. And then kind of straight away in my early 20s, I got married. I had the kids. I did that sort of thing. And it it kind of went away. I still healed my kids. I still kind of had my beliefs, but I kept it to myself. And then life changes and divorce and things like that happened. And I was like, it's time to focus again on the energy healing and things like that. So I started doing Reiki training. I started doing chronic healing training, getting into the community a bit more where I lived, and focusing again on. I really actually got into qigong. It was the first thing I kind of fell in love with. It's like I love the feeling of doing like tai chi, qigong, energy flow, getting back into my energy flow. And then somebody showed up with some crystal bowls at a little event or whatever, and I was like, oh my God, I need this in my life. I need these bowls. And it just resonated so much, just the vibration and the fact that I already kind of had an idea of what vibrational healing should be and raising my vibration at the same time with energy healing and things like that. I was looking for other ways that I could raise my vibration or raise the vibration of others in my healing modalities. And the crystal bowls were like, bam, right there at the right time. You know, how spirit does that. And, uh, and here we go, right? So I was enthralled. I signed up for a course with a gentleman who traveled around teaching and teaching healing with crystal bowls. So that was something I really was specific on. I just didn't want to learn how to play them. I wanted to learn how to heal with them. And yeah, that's basically it. I did the course. I got my first three crystal bowls, and from there it was just okay. Now what to do, right? So I used it a lot for healing, and with Reiki and things like that. And I wasn't online until well, I started a little bit before COVID, the whole COVID thing. Before that thing happened, uh, but not seriously. It's kind of like a part time. Okay, I'll just do this video because I feel like people need this video, right?
Yeah.
And it was just a once in a while thing. And then we had that pandemic. I had a lot of extra time on my hands, and I was like, okay, it's time to make terrestrial vibes an actual thing, right? So it was always a little bit of a, like a Facebook page and everything, but it wasn't a thing that I wanted to grow or, you know, it was just a hobby inside while I did my healing and things like that. And maybe people saw me on the Facebook and wanted to uh, book a healing with me or something like that. But from where it's gone now with the YouTube channel and everything else, and how many people I do reach now, it's actually quite amazing. The growth from just the vibrational healing. That's always been the goal for me, is to heal with the vibrations. So whenever you're watching, I don't know if you watch a lot of different crystal bowl people on the internet and things like that. There's a lot of people sending out just crystal bowls or sending out crystal frequencies and saying this frequency is this and this is that. When I'm doing it, I'm always putting that intention, that healing intention, that connection with my intuition. And hopefully you're connecting with your intuition when you're watching it. And that's going to allow this healing cycle or process to work as we raise our vibrations together. And that's kind of where it comes from. That's a bit of a long one, I guess. I could talk for a while. I used to be a teacher, actually. So speaking in front of people is not a big deal. But, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, I know that there's binaural beats and there's healing frequencies and you've got solfeggio frequencies. So how does it actually work? Because I work with the subconscious mind and I'll also work with energy vibration. But, you know, sound and emotion are also vibration.
Yeah, in colors too. And colors are also vibration, seeing the color of light. So if we're talking about the scientific electromagnetic spectrum, right? And then we're going to add, I like to say there's spiritual layers on top of that, or other dimensional layers on top of our electromagnetic spectrum that we can scientifically measure, that we haven't got the tools yet to measure, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're going into those quantum type theories and things like that. But we're not going to go there because we get too sciencey and it distracts us from the conversation. But from a vibrational standpoint, and I always looked at dimensions as higher vibrations, each level being an octave higher, so to speak. And that's why music is such a good parallel to how dimensions and energy works in our system. And it's very mathematical as well. So it all kind of correlates into how high your vibration will go here, right? So if we're talking about vibrational levels of how your physical body is vibrating, the higher your physical body is vibrating, the healthier it can be, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're eating foods that are higher vibrational. That means to me, not only are the atoms in a healthy state, each cell of whatever you're eating, or each particle of whatever you're eating, et cetera, is in a healthy state, and it has a healthy energy around it as well. So we're talking about the aura or the life energy that food has, et cetera, or the objects you're using. Your phone, your car, etc., has a vibration. Every atom in the universe is in motion and is inherently more space than matter. So from a scientific standpoint, everything is moving on every level, right? So if we're thinking about that, that means everything's vibrating. The solids that we have are vibrating. We're vibrating even on a molecular level. So if we take into account that everything is connected via energy or life force, we can now see that vibration and raising our intention or our mind vibration can have a ripple effect in the octaves above and the octaves below, down into the 3D, up into the 5D, the 6D, 9D, etc., higher self, what we call, and can affect those levels, right? And it's just to say, okay, if I'm going to send some healing energy, some love energy, and we've got those spectrums too. You can find those charts on the internet where there's different levels for each emotion of what energy is flowing or what frequency is coming out. And the higher the frequency, the more the vibration. The higher the vibration, the higher the emotion, love, joy, etc., way up on the top of the list. So if you're going to send energy healing to somebody, you're going to want to send it via those higher frequencies so that it can permeate into those higher frequencies for that person and affect them downward into their lower levels and help vibrate those lower levels higher and bring them up to their optimum level as well. So this is how healing works. Your body is naturally vibrating. Your energy is naturally vibrating. All of this is connected on different spiritual levels. We call it spiritual levels, but it could be called energy levels, dimensional levels. It's the words are just words. If we're just going to look at it in a simple way, we're just going to look at, I like to look at the colors. Each color is a different vibration. If we apply the color to our chakra system, I think most of your viewers would enjoy knowing that each chakra vibrates at a different frequency as well. And the higher you get would be a higher frequency on the higher connections. So if you're connecting in your crown chakra, your seat for the soul, or connection to your higher self, of course that chakra is going to be vibrating higher because it's trying to connect to the higher dimensions. Your root chakra is going to be vibrating lower because it's trying to root you down into the 3D and connect you down into Mother Earth energy. So the different frequencies are doing different amounts of work. And it's been my experience that as we move through life and we raise and lower our frequencies of our entire being and we go through our life, we get sick and our vibration lowers. We get healthy and our vibration goes up. We enjoy parts of life, our vibration goes higher. We start to have a tough time in life, our vibration goes lower. And it has to do with how not just the external influence of the energy, but also how we respond with our emotions, and we allow our energy to rise and fall via that kind of thing. So we went from scientific to purely emotional in the same sentence, basically, in the same paragraph. But
So
that's my kind of view on it, and then allowing it to just from science be. Sorry, you go ahead. You go ahead. Ask your question.
no, so I'm just thinking, like, with me, if somebody's going to release an emotion and they do a session with me, they'll, go through the feeling and give closure and stuff. But I'm going to assume with sound it would be a little bit different in that it takes time to settle. It's almost like
Mm-hmm.
constant exposure rather than just a once-off thing. It's not just go listen to
Yeah.
this once and now you're healed. Is that right?
I would say for me, my intention is always to do the most amount of healing that can be done without harming, basically. Like, you can overextend somebody's energy and you can make them feel crappy the next day. They can go down after because they've been lifted so high. I like to call expanding our energy bubble. If I've
Okay.
expanded the bubble too far, it doesn't have a chance to normalize back and now you're kind of discombobulated a little bit and your energy is not quite settled. So a lot of things when we do emotional release with, say, crystal bowls, and I'm saying this is a heart chakra release or something like that, I'm expecting you to come back and listen to it again, or listen to my other heart chakra bowls, or come back and listen to something else as your intuitive and your own intuition kind of guides you through. I offer a lot of different things, so you can go on the YouTube channel or on Facebook and see a lot of different paths to heal.
Yeah.
And it's I kind of leave it open. Everything is just as powerful watching on replay second time, third time, or watching it live. Or for me, the energy doesn't adhere to our 3D time as much as people think. So aligning the energy means aligning our intentions
Yeah.
more, right? Aligning my intention to send you healing, your intention to really receive the healing is a stronger connection than anything else in the universe. Because now we're at, an energy level that is above our thoughts. We're using love for ourselves. Like let's say you're booking a healing with me. You are now choosing to love yourself a little bit more because now you want to heal, right? Just in that little bit, right? You've already flipped a little bit of a switch. You're saying, okay, it doesn't matter if it's me or any other healer, right? Just you're choosing to take care of yourself. You're choosing a little bit more self-care. So you change that switch. Your intention changes a little bit. Now you've got a positive hamster wheel kind of going, right?
Yeah.
And this positive hamster wheel is going to say, okay, I feel good now that I've had this session. I feel even better, right? Now that's the hamster wheel is turning into a big hamster ball, and now it's rolling down a hill, and you're just going to start to feel better because your vibration is lifting, and then you can build upon that next octave, right? And the next octave above that can heal. So let's say you have a physical issue. We are going to heal, say, something going on in the liver, which is very common for a lot of people. We end up, and that's just kind of how I look at that emotional healing between two people is going to be, okay, I'm at this vibration. If I'm healing you, I have to be high enough to lift you up to where I am and maybe even give you a little push, right? Go. But if I'm down here, I can only lift you up as far as I am, right? So there are times when I will not heal people. I will not go live. I will not send out energy healing because I'm not at my 100%, or I'm not at my optimum vibration. That's what I
Yeah.
would say.
So out of interest, is the liver part of the solar plexus? Would that be?
It would be the back of the Ming Meng chakra, which I use the kind of the Tai Chi, Qigong, Chinese. So
Yeah.
on the back of your right side would be your Ming Men, right on the other side of your kidney, right on the back of the kidney.
So would it
Also known as the
correspond with
kidney
that?
chakra.
Okay.
So
So it's
that's
got
what,
its,
yeah. But also, I would say more sacral, even though
okay.
sacral governs a lot of the reproductive organs and things like
Yeah.
that. It's also digestion and everything else as well. So, and when we're talking about blood cleansing, it could be even a heart chakra thing as of where it is, you know,
Yeah.
who knows? Uh, for me, it's a feeling. I'm not a studier when it comes to, I mean, I know the things I need to know, I know, but when it comes to medical things and specifics and things like that, I'm not going to be uh, as learned, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And because when I do the work, when I'm doing energy work, I'm visualizing it as I'm working through, and whether it's a long distance or working with somebody Reiki, I do a lot of pranic healing, which is a specific kind of healing modality where you are playing with the ley lines between the chakras, and you're working with the chakras and the energy in between the layers of the chakras and the mechanics of how the chakra system works. And you're using it on a correlation to how your physical body's doing. And there are specifics. It's kind of like a medical book. There are specifics where you are following kind of like, okay, I'm going to send this kind of energy, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this clearing, and then I'm going to do this kind of energy, and this is going to help with this pancreatic cancer. And that's the specifics. And there's manuals basically that you can follow with pranic energy, pranic healing. In Reiki, you're allowing the energy to do the work. You're just stepping out of the way. You're allowing that flow, and the energy is going where it needs to go. Sometimes you're allowing specific hand placements, so you're making sure you're covering all the bases. But you're just allowing that energy to flow as you do your symbols, and you're getting out of the way. So there's two different kinds of things. And when we're working with energy healing, and I'm doing my types of energy healing, it's a mixture of both. So sometimes I'll just be sending energy. A lot of times I'll be fixing things. And when I'm fixing things, getting back to my original point of this little bit of conversation was the visualization, what I'm seeing, my imagination inside. When I close my eyes and I'm doing the work, if I need to see the liver, I will see the liver, and I will see the black spots on it. And I will see what needs to be removed and what energy nodes, I call them energy nodes, that have been condensed that need to be cleared out. And some things can't be cleared out easily with energy. Some of them have little, tentacle type hooks and things that have been barbed into your energy body, and if I pull them out, that creates a tear or rip, something like that. So a lot of things we have to see and go, okay, how do I take this out? I can unwrap this, or I can, pull this out gently and do these sort of different little tricks just to get the energy out of the system. Yes, I could go through and just sweep it out and pull it out, but that's what I was talking about earlier about sometimes you get energy healing, then you go down after the next day or 2 days later, your bubbles expanded. Yeah, I've ripped all the bad stuff out of you, but I haven't left you in a good state
No.
of healing, right? You're going to have to still do a lot of healing on your own after that. And if you haven't cleared and healed those, tears and rips and the energies and things like that, that allows kind of those dark things or those attachments and unneeded or toxic, what I call them toxic energies, because they're not necessarily bad or negative. They're just what isn't supposed to be there. Toxic for you because you need to be in your own energy. You can't be having those external energies. And it allows those little tears to have those attachments easily reattach. Right?
Yeah. Well, on that note, because I work with specifically people that have been in toxic relationships, and I find that
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of talk about the trauma bond, and I think this is
Mm-hmm.
purely on a metaphysical point of view, is that they get their hooks into you. And then when you sever the relationship, you haven't severed the ties, the spiritual cords. So if they were to
Yeah.
pull it out, they'd feel this absolute void because they're used to having this extra entity or, in their space. And until they
Yeah.
heal that, it's almost like having I imagine an electric cord that's just frayed and it's just like blown out and it's like static almost. It's going to pick up more negativity and that's what keeps them stuck in that cycle. Is that what you also experience? Or is it something
I would
similar?
experience that like it's similar. It's very similar. That's a good way of putting it too, because I call them cords or tethers as well. And we have cords and tethers to lots of people. When we have an interaction, an emotional interaction with somebody, we tend to send out an emotional energy cord that connects to them and they connect to us. And that
Yeah.
includes arguing with somebody at the gas station. But most of the time, it doesn't serve our needs. It doesn't create a lesson for us in our life. So we don't pay attention to. So when we leave the gas station, the cord breaks and we never think about it again. Oh, I had this argument with this guy. But if you are telling the story later to your significant other in the kitchen after you got home from work or whatever it is, and you're telling the story, the cord has a chance to reattach to that person because now you're putting that emotion back out. And now your emotion's going, where is that person? I'm going to go and find that person, connect, because that's what I want to send that person that negative emotion again. So your cords are both ways. You connect as well as the person connecting to you. So when you're in a relationship and the cord has been there for a long time, and let's say you have a trauma relationship or you have a relationship that's been through multiple lives, even where, and I believe in past lives and karmic relationships and things like that.
Yeah.
The cord is going to be stronger and thicker. It's going to be something you've learned to live with. It's going to be, as soon as you pull it out, it's going to feel itchy and like an itch you can't scratch almost. Like, and if you go to an energy healer to get it pulled out, you're ready to get it pulled out, you're going to know that it got pulled out. You might feel sick after. You might feel like you're going to puke because you're just so used to having that energy there. And now you've got to do that work to fill that hole, to do that healing. And usually what it is and why cords attach is because we're lacking love, right? We wanted the love and it wasn't love. It was some other trauma or some other energy,
Yeah.
let's say, that is connected to us. And whether that person was originally nice or not, or etc. I mean, they could have energies attached to them and attached to them, etc. So you don't know unless you can clear the cord. And if you clear the cord, and you pull it out, and it's something that's been there a while, it's going to be easily come back. So you have to put your self-love in there. Instead, it has to be filled like you got to fill the wound with something, right? Otherwise, there's a void or a hole that's got to be easily reattached. So you got to fill it with some love. You got to put love in there. You got to heal yourself. And when it does reattach, you got to take it out again. You can't just leave it again, right? You got to. It's like working in muscle. Right? You can't just do 10 push-ups and be like, yeah, look at me, I did 10 push-ups, right? You got to do 10 push-ups and another 10 and another 10 and then another 10. And then tomorrow you got to do 10 push-ups and another 10 and another 10. And then finally your muscles start to get stronger and now you're okay. Now I can do 20 push-ups. Now I can do 30 push-ups, right? From an energy standpoint, we use our energy muscles quite a bit. But if we're wanting to do something new with our energy, we want to heal something, that's a new muscle. That's a new energy muscle. Right? So if you're going to do any sort of energy healing and you're training yourself, you're working your energy muscles. You go, well, how come when I learned Reiki, I didn't feel any energy, but now that I've been practicing for a while, I can feel the energy coming up my hands and I can feel that tingle or I can feel that heat or whatever it is that you feel. Everybody's a little bit different or know that it's happening, right? Because you're working that energy muscle. The same goes with healing. I'm going to work my healing energy. So I'm going to work on healing myself. One of the first things you do in Reiki training is heal yourself for a month. Every day when you get up in the morning, every night before you go to bed, you spend time doing the healing on yourself. And it's not just to heal yourself and raise your own vibration or to practice the mediums. It's to learn how to step out of your way and work those energy muscles in a way that is conducive to healing more than just healing other people, right? And it works that muscle because now you're spending half an hour a day doing something without your mind wandering into what ifs and what should have been, right? The forward and the past, right? The future and the past. Our mind likes to go in those places. When you're doing something in a practice, and that's why we call it a practice. And in a spiritual practice is never done. A spiritual practice is something we work at every day. So when we do Qigong or when we do a morning meditation for 5 to 10 minutes, that's a practice, right? When we do a specific meditation, we're like, okay, I want to do a meditation where I'm working on my focus. So I'm counting one, one. I'm counting my breathing, two, two. Inhale, exhale. And I'm just focusing on that. And every time a thought comes into my head, I'm dispelling it and just going straight back to my one, one, two, two. And the funny thing about that exercise is even if you're a master monk or, enlightened master of anything, doing that exercise is a practice.
Yeah.
The goal is always to do it 5 times in a row without the mind wandering. And you think it's possible? It's pretty much impossible to do that. So it's a practice, right? You're always working. You're always working those spiritual muscles.
Yeah. So, okay, so I'm going to just go back a bit. Let's say somebody's got cancer and it's quite bad.
Mm-hmm.
Would you suggest like go at a certain frequency and not higher because you want to kind of pull the body up out of it? Or is it just like, let's start as high as possible and let it filter down? What would you do?
If I was using purely sound, I
Yeah.
would find the sound that would um, be the opposite resonance, I guess, of what the cancer is.
So
So if the
that's where the
cancer is
waves,
resonating
is
very
it where
low,
the waves kind
like
of
you'd want to
nullify?
find, yeah, where they would nullify each other, right? So if you're looking at the sine wave of sound, and I do it quite a bit with the crystal bowls, where the sound is going to double on top of itself, and then you don't hear it, and it's
Yeah.
gone. And you're
Like
like,
noise
wow, that's
cancelling
interesting.
headphones.
It just
Yeah.
cancels itself out, and you're like, I just hit that bowl and nobody heard it. Nobody, because I hit it at the right time. And now I'm starting to find out, okay, if I hit it at the right time and there's no sound, I mean, that I've canceled it out. If I was going to do that for cancer,
Uh-huh.
right, I would find that frequency with a frequency machine. I would, and there are, a lot of research and stuff going on about, that kind of thing. If
Yeah.
I'm doing it with my crystal bowls, on the other hand, I'm going to pick the resonance of the chakra that, say, it's thyroid cancer, right? I'm going to
Okay.
pick the throat chakra. I'm going to use that energy to expand the throat chakra. And I'm always going to use some heart chakra too. I'm always going to use that heart, that love, because love is the healer, really. It is self-love, me loving you, whether I'm using a tool or not. Love is the real healer. That's the real energy drive, right? What makes the energy move in the universe? What emotion would make the energy move? It's the only
Yeah.
one I could think of is love, right?
Yeah.
So you could use hate to push energy for sure, but it's not going to heal you. It's not going
No.
to. It's going to only be hate, right? It's only going to be that octave of energy. So you just have to be intentional. And that's where the intention, circling back around to intention, comes around. Because with intention, I always say intention is 90%. You can learn all the Reiki you want, and you can spend a lot of time working your spiritual muscle. But if you don't intend to work with love and to use that in a loving, healing way, it is never going to be as powerful as if you choose that. Right? If you do
Yeah.
choose that and you allow it and you step out of the way and you accept it and you take that and you put that intention into a crystal ball and you say, this crystal ball, my intention is to use this crystal ball with my loving intention to heal this throat cancer in this person. I'm going to do my best, right? It's going to be the best, highest level energy that I can put with love into that area of that person. And if they're aligning and they're like, yes, I love myself and I want to heal myself as well, and I see myself, I visualize my intention is me as a healthy person, and we align, miracles can happen. And miracles have happened. I've had people healed from IBS, who couldn't leave the house, and they had one
Wow.
session with me, and they've messaged me 2 weeks later, and I didn't hear from them. They messaged me 2 weeks later. I said, I'm sorry I didn't message. I've just been out of the house. And I thought to myself, that is amazing, right? Like they finally could go be a normal person again. And to me, it was not even a one-on-one healing. It was over one of my free healings overnight where I said my intention. I spend 5 to 10 minutes with it, in my nightly meditations, sending energy healing to the person who requests it, signs up, and it's free for anybody. Anybody can sign up. I do 5 people every night. And it was one of those. There's a lady who signed up for that. And the thing was, the difference between one where it works like that and it's miraculous and one where it doesn't is that intention. She was ready. She wanted to heal.
Yeah.
She was accepting that and believing that it would work. And that's the other part, right? 90% intention, 9% belief, and 1% work. Right?
No, I'm absolutely agree. You have to be willing to accept the healing, because acceptance means you're open to whatever. You're not blocking it. There's no resistance.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are in pain, not because they trying to get rid of something. It's because they're holding on to it for whatever reason.
It's true. And you have to think about, like, what's his name? Dr. Joe Dispenza. With his kind of research and the way he kind of looks at it scientifically, always resonated with me from my kind of analytical sciencey standpoints as well, is you are now trained that way. Like, your brain now has a physical component to these emotions and etc. So you're getting these chemicals in your brain every time this emotion happens. So say somebody with trauma, or somebody who needs to always be in an argument all the time, etc. They're getting a certain chemical that their brain is kind of addicted to. And now that's creating a reciprocal effect where it's going back up the chain and saying, now your brain saying, we need to make this emotion so that we can get this chemical again. And I was thinking, wow, that is so amazing, because people can't change as easy as they want to. Sometimes they want to change, and then this thing happens, then they get down on themselves because they did the same thing they always do. But if you think about that, your body from a physiological standpoint is going, I need this, so I'm going to create this emotion. And if you don't act on this emotion, you're going to feel crappy because I'm going to be all tense and I'm not getting the chemical from this type of serotonin or this type of whatever in the brain. Right? And I thought that was a fantastic way to look at things and go, wow, it does work both ways. If you go up the octaves and down the octaves, either way. And then how do you travel up and down octaves? How would you do that? With intention. Once again, it always comes back to intention. If I want to raise my vibration, I have to intend to do it. And the same thing, if God wanted to create the universe, he would have had to intend, or she or it or the collective or whatever had to intend to do it, and had to intend to do it with love. Otherwise, we wouldn't have love, right? It had to intend to do it with everything. There's intention in everything. And then if you start thinking about that, you go, wow, there's intention in everything. That means there's an intelligence in everything. There's a divine intelligence in everything that is there, right? And you have to contemplate that. You have to go, wow, I'm part of that. Right? I'm not separate from that. You're not separate. Anybody watching this isn't separate from that. They're all part. Whether it's a good experience, a bad experience, all of it's experience.
Yeah.
Right. So
that's the illusion.
If you want to experience, if you want to experience being healthy, then you have to intend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the first step. If you don't have an intention, you could go and see a doctor, they could give you, I don't do pharma, but if they did, you went the medical route, you take all the pills, but if you don't intend to get healthy, you're just going to say it's not working, find something else. It's like whack-a-mole. Something else comes up, and something else comes up. Yeah. So I know, we've got a lot of wine farms, and the farmers, in some of them, in Stellenbosch, they play classical music for the vineyards.
Oh, yeah.
And they produce the most amazing wines because plants are responding to the sound and the frequency.
Mm-hmm. And the difference between like the Hopi Indians up in the Arizona in the United States is a similar thing. Their corn is in a dry, arid desert, but their corn grows super high and taller than anybody else's corn and has more nutritional value in it. And they wonder why. And they love it. They love
Yep.
their corn. They send the love to it. They do ceremonies about it. They plant it every grain with love, like by hand. And there's a difference. There's a
Yeah.
difference to the intention in that compared to the intention of having a machine do it just to make money or just to feed the masses, etc. Right?
But you
I
can
want to
even
feed the
taste it
masses
in
with,
food. If somebody
yeah,
cooks with
you can
love, you
taste
can
it.
taste it.
Oh
It's like
yeah,
the
even if
difference
it's
between mass
the cheapest
produced.
ingredients, right? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
so.
Yeah.
And
So now,
even to the point of like a company themselves, that the company is run by a person who has that intentionalness and et cetera, maybe a little bit more awareness to how processes should be, the product is going to have that little bit more, spark in it. It's going to have that little bit more love in it, right?
yeah,
It's going to probably do that.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I know, like, for example, if people go to rehab for drugs, they don't
Mhm.
they don't quit. Rehab doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because they go back into society and they go back to their old life, which includes
Yeah.
listening to the same kind of music they used to listen to. So can, by
Hmm.
the same token, listening to certain music lower your vibration?
Oh, for sure. Yes. You have to look at okay.
And can it cause you to be
it's
sick?
not it's not it's not always going to be something like heavy metal. Some heavy metal can have a good message and actually have good melodic tones and and raise your vibration. And some pop music can have really negative tones and have negative connotations to it and can lower your vibration, even though it sounds happy or it sounds like you're going to be dancing. So uh, how you feel when you listen to the music, and if you sit down and you want to listen to a new song or a new artist or something like that, and you listen to it, be really objective. How does it make you feel? What are they saying in the songs? What is the intention behind it? Are they making this music just so that they can be popular and have money? Or are they making this music so that they can express artistic? Are they making this music so that they can help people? Right? Some people make music just to help others feel better and things like that. So the intention behind it usually is, once again, the big kind of deciding factor of music. And if you're, for me, there's a lot of music I don't listen to anymore. If I'm going to be doing things around the house and stuff like that, I tend to gravitate to music that has no lyrics nowadays. And
Yeah.
for me, that allows the vibration of music to be interpreted by me. So if my mood is in a good mood and I'm listening to, some nice music that goes along with my mood, it's going to enhance me even more. And it's going to raise my vibration more. I'm going to bounce off that. I'm going to use it as an octave to bounce up another octave, right? If the music I'm listening to has words and things like that, that's always going to chop that down to where the words and intentions keep that music. So what the artist was originally trying to do with the words.
Yeah.
So music is always, subject to the listener. Everybody likes different kinds of music. And if you do enjoy, like some really good rock music and things like that, or heavy, hard rock music, what's the message you're listening to first? If it's a fun message, a good message, and it just gets you pumped up to go work out or, to ride your bike or whatever it is that you're going to go do, great. Raise your vibration that way. But if it lowers your vibration when you listen to it, I would say don't listen to it.
Well,
Right.
my son was listening to, I think it was Rammstein the other day or something, and it was in German, and he was singing along, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought this is really heavy, you know. And I said,
Yeah.
"What is he even saying?" And he looked up the lyrics in translation, and it was about cannibalism, and it was based
Mm-hmm.
on a true story where these two men ate another man, and it was so base and so vulgar. And I thought, if he doesn't understand, he was upset because now I put him off the song, which is good for me. But if the intention behind the artist is to corrupt, surely even if it made you feel good, it's going to impact on you negatively.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the intention. Like, why would you need a song about? Are you
Yeah.
intending to raise awareness about the story, or are you just using something gruesome because that's your kind of style, right? Like, so for me, it seems superfluous. It's something that doesn't need to be there,
Yeah.
and now you have to think, okay, well, why are they still doing it? If it doesn't need to be there, they're obviously not in love. They're not working in love. They're
No
working
worries.
in ego, or they're working in attachment. Whatever's attached to them is helping influence. And yeah, you can be super famous, you can be a king, you can be, a poor person, and all have attachments that influence you negatively. The biggest thing that, I always say darkies, because I don't give them any power. People with dark intent, or entities with dark intent, uh, the biggest thing they want to do is stop love, because they
Correct.
know that love is the biggest thing in the universe to create, and love is 10 times more powerful than anything they got, hundreds of times more powerful than anything they have in their vibrational levels, because their vibrational levels are the opposite. They're into the negatives almost, or anti-vibration, black hole type stuff, right?
Yeah.
And that, to me, you're just worlds apart from each other. And there's to bring somebody up to that love. Uh, let's say you have to kind of eliminate those types of influences, say the negative music, the negative TV shows and programming there, and all that kind of stuff. Right? One of the things that I did in my late teens was I stopped watching commercials, and I stopped watching the news. Two major influences into our lives, with uh, a really interesting, and having a YouTube channel now, I've learned a lot more about it now. A really interesting delivery method for getting that message ingrained into you, and getting what they want out of you via, advertising, and via emotional programming, right? So they're using emotions and TV shows and things like that to get you hooked into it, and then present these new ideas to you that are something that you're probably going to go, that's anti-love. If you were looking at it without the programming, that's not love. That's definitely hate, or that's
Yeah.
definitely negativity, or that's definitely cause for concern, at least, right? It's definitely not love, right? And so if you were looking at it objectively and you weren't in the program, then you could see that. You could say, oh, wow, look
Well,
what they're
it's
trying to do.
interesting. It's interesting they call them programs.
Yeah. From the very beginning, from
And
the
also,
1930s,
yeah, I
programming,
also noticed
right?
with the news, they play this fun little ditty. It's like upbeat to start the news, and then they'll launch straight into some negative thing where there was a terrorist attack and so many people died,
Yeah.
and then they end with a little fun music.
There's a
And it's,
there's always that flashy graphic on the screen too.
yeah,
The news is here. It's flashy time, and then
yeah, it's
you
almost like
watch, and it's some sort of
exciting.
like
Come sit
attacks.
down.
Yeah,
Come sit down, come listen. It's weird. People aren't even aware. It's
like
crazy.
if if I turn on a news channel, and I don't even subscribe to anything that can have a news channel. I guess YouTube. I'd have to go on YouTube, and I'd have to find the news channels on YouTube. But in Canada, they actually banned news from social media, so we actually don't get our news on social media here,
Oh,
which is great. For me, I know it made a lot of people angry, because
that's
a
awesome.
source they look at every day, and now they have to subscribe to a news service instead to get news. For me, I thought that was great. Hey, get off my channel. Get out of here. I don't care what your guys are doing, really, because it doesn't affect me usually. Usually, but
That's awesome.
um, uh, in the major news, you're going to hear from your neighbor anyways. Like you're going to hear from people talking about it in the community and things like that. So for me, subscribing to the news in that negative inundation every day, if it's like waking up and people turn on the news in the morning, and you think, wow, that's like listening to Rammstein for me in the morning.
Yeah,
Like
it
I'm going to
is
turn on
too.
the news. Maybe the weather real quick just to find out what's going on. But I can get the weather on my phone now. So there's no
Exactly.
reason for me
Exactly.
to do that. Um, it's a filter I have to filter out the energies I don't want in my life, or the frequencies I don't want in my life. Getting back to frequency and vibration. What
Yeah.
vibration are they sending out from that stream at you, right? What are the intention behind it? to cause fear. Usually it's to cause fear. What's the opposite of love? Fear, right?
Yeah.
Everything comes from fear. Hate, sadness, all that stems down into the fear. So how do you fight love? How do you fight love? Because love is so powerful. How do you fight it? You constantly and consistently pump fear out.
Yeah.
And you have to do it constant. Otherwise, love will fail. Because love is just that strong. And we do our work. Every single person that doesn't accept the fear narrative that they pumped to us, right? If we don't accept that and we put out love, well, we're like 1,000 compared to one of them, right? Like we're 1,000 in one of us compared to, right? Like just way more potential and power in vibration. Higher vibration, just stronger, no matter what. It has that much more energy. Even if you look at radiation, the highest energy radiation is at the highest frequency and can kill you that much faster, right? It's just because it's vibrating so fast. The electric, it's the same as the light that's shining on me right now. It's the same energy. It's just vibrating faster. And the faster and faster it vibrates, eventually your physical body can't take it. And it disintegrates because of radiation, right? Because of that vibration. So on a scientific level, and everything on a scientific level can parallel on a metaphysical level and on a spiritual level and on an emotional level. We can take these parallels through, and that's why I always call them octaves, because you can kind of go, this is another octave up, or this is an octave down. And then we take that music correlation once more and say, this is the same vibration, but doubled, basically, or the same vibration, but half. And it's still the good vibration, still a good vibration, right? You're still looping back into those octaves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the saying is, be careful what you allow into your body, no matter what it is, whether it's sound, whether it's news, whether it's certain foods.
Your own thoughts.
Exactly. It's what do you allow in? What do you be discerning? Be discerning.
Yeah.
So if somebody were to listen to like classical music all day, I find some classical music I absolutely love and some I just don't resonate with, which I'm assuming just, everybody's got their taste, I suppose. But if someone was to listen, for example, to classical music, would that automatically raise their vibration? Would they be less likely to get sick, would you say?
If the classical, okay, let's say if you're thinking about the intention behind music, once again, I have to say intention behind music. A lot of classical music sounds wonderful. It's beautiful and it raises our vibration for sure. Like you listen to some of these ones that are written as poetry, basically, for someone they loved and etc. And this can be beautiful and uplifting. You look at something like, I'm going to pull out Beethoven's Fifth, which is da 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 da. What is that based on? It's based on the bombing of Vienna during Napoleon, right? Like it's crazy that song is based on war. So the sound and the vibration is way different. Yes, it's a musical experience, and it would have been like going to a wonderful, high blockbuster movie back in those days, because you would have got this amazing thing, super loud, and it would have been an amazing experience. Yes, but the intention behind it was to describe and show the pain and suffering of the bombing of a city in the 1800s. Like it's
I can never listen to that again.
Is that going to raise your vibration? So maybe you should look at, okay, who's the artist? Why are they making this? What is the song called? What does it translate to? Once again, you said Rammstein from Germany, right? You translate the song. What are they talking about?
That was heavy.
If you're listening to something in a different language, or you're listening to music that was made by somebody like, Beethoven, who's also German, what does für Elise mean? It means for Elisa. It means for her. This is the song he wrote for her. So when you listen to für Elise and it sounds beautiful and it lifts you up, you're like, oh, this is so beautiful. It was for her. At the end of it, it gets sad. Why does it get sad? Why does the song sound sadder at the end? Because she leaves him at the end in his life. She doesn't want to be his muse anymore, and she leaves. So the song gets sad at the end, or the music gets sad at so you got to look at it that way. You got to go maybe just research on what you're listening to. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe when you're scrolling through Facebook, or maybe when you're scrolling through Instagram, etc. And there's a new artist there, and they're doing some sort of song out in the wilderness. They've got a drum and they're singing, and you listen to it, and you're like, oh wow, this feels good to listen to. Listen to it. Stick around and listen to it. Wait till the end. See what it's about. Tap on the person's name. See what they're all about. Make sure that their intention is there. And then you're safeguarding yourself a little bit from vibration that maybe you don't want.
Absolutely. So, okay, so let's say somebody got some crystal bowls or some, or they're metal or they're copper or they're brass balls. If is it better to just like get one type of bowl and just to kind of play with it, or is it more the idea of having a symphony going? What is it about? Why would somebody buy one? And if they were online, just say, okay, I need bowls, I need singing bowls. What do I buy? Where do I look?
So yeah, like I mentioned, my intention was always to heal with the crystal bowls first. I was like, this is amazing. I want to incorporate this into my healing. For you, you might just want to incorporate it into your meditation practice in the morning. You play this bowl, it clears the space, you feel centered. For that, you can get a metal bowl. Like that's what those metal ones are kind of for, the Tibetan bowls.
Yeah.
You strike them, they bring you back to center. Same with those like little bells that you can chime together. Ding, right? All that kind of stuff, excuse me, is a meditation tool, right? It helps you do that. For crystal bowls, for what I was doing, I love to play them to do a sound bath, to heal. You might want a crystal bowl just to do some heart chakra healing. And if you're going to get one crystal bowl, I always say get the heart chakra.
Uh-huh.
Don't bother getting a crown chakra when you're not grounded. Don't bother, getting a sacral, right? Maybe a root bowl, maybe a lower chakra bowl. But if your intention is healing, or you want to bring that higher vibration into your space, just by into your meditation space, or just into your healing practices, or helping others, etc. Get the heart chakra bowl. Heart chakra is love. It's going to bring you to love, no matter what.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, that makes sense. Yeah. So if somebody, let's just go back a bit as well. Let's say somebody comes into you right now and they say, I've had a breakup. Is it something you could heal with sound? Is it something that you'd suggest? Would they come and do a sound bath?
Um, Yes, and I would say like a lot of things I do with relationship wise is cord clearing and chakra clearing and clearing those connections out and allowing that healing space. So yes, when it's fresh, something like that is fresh, I would say, yeah, come for healing. We'll clear the cords, we'll pull all the cords out, we'll do some sound healing, we'll vibrate you up a little higher, we'll get those holes kind of filled in a little bit, and then you've got your own, emotional healing to go deal with after that. And we want to make sure when we do an energy healing like that, in sort of situations like that, that we're just allowing you the space to do your emotional work, right? To feel your emotions without blocks and attachments and no's and I should have's and what ifs and all that kind of mental stuff. So if I can clear with crystal singing bowls and clear your mental and clear your cords and things like that, give you that space to feel and process and etc. Right? Send yourself that little bit of love as well.
Makes sense, yeah.
Keeping a lot of motion in the liver, and that condenses into the 3D. The vibration of something like that condenses down. So the vibration gets lower and lower and lower. And as we have an emotion, let's say we're not allowing our emotion, which I always say energy in motion, we're not allowing that energy to flow through us and be felt. So we trap it inside. And as it gets trapped inside, the longer is there and the longer we hold it in with our energy, the lower that vibration of that thing is going to get, the more and more physical that energy is going to be. And that's how we get, things in our liver or cancer or this or that. And it's very, from an energy standpoint. I mean, there's
Yeah.
also external factors, physical things that happen in our world, of course, that cause cancer and things like that. There's thousands of things out there. But from an energy standpoint, if you're holding in emotions, you are looking to walk down that road of materializing those things that you should have released.
Okay, so do you have a message for the people that are watching? What would you like to say to them?
All right, a message. Um, hmm. I always say, like, I'm wearing my "We Are Love" shirt, so I guess the message and something I always impart at the end of my shows is that we are love. So the message is to remember that you are actually love, that you are part of this creation, this grand, divine, intelligent love that is in the universe and pervades through the universe and creates this universe. You were created, you are part of creation, and you also have the power to create. So we are that love. We are love. And as love, we are able to raise the vibration of anything, especially ourselves. So I think it's just amazing to me to realize these kind of things and to be part of that love. And sometimes we forget, for sure, we forget we're part of that love, and we get into our humanness and we get into our mammal brains or reptilian brains or whatever you want to call it, and that's okay. That's part of the experience. So just remember that you are love, and it will work itself out.
Yeah, it's under all of it. It's under everything.
Yeah,
Just get layers
it's,
of other stuff on top. So where can people get hold of
it's
you?
like the Force from Star Wars.
Yeah,
Pervades everything.
yeah. And music unifies too.
It does. It does. It creates that vibration inside each person that hears that vibration. So when we play crystal bowls or play music, you're you're saying from this atom is vibrating. I'm going to make this atom vibrate, but I want the atom that's inside of you to vibrate at that same frequency, and we're going to allow that to happen with this intention of love. So we play
Yeah.
some music, we play some crystal bowls, we vibrate it, and hopefully inside it vibrates you as
Well, actually, I was reading a book called Super Learning, and they had a whole lot of test subjects together in a room to learn. I think they had to learn 1,000 words in a day of a foreign language. And
well.
they played music, and the person reading out the words and the translation of the words, if the music went up, the voice went up. And it kind of like matched the words. And by the end of the day, 90% of them had total recall. So they could learn a
Wow.
language in 2 weeks just based on the music because it synchronized their brainwaves.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's really
it's
magical.
true.
It
And
really is.
a lot of people use that sort of thing on meditations for sleep meditations or guided meditations. They'll use like the binaural beats and the things
Yeah,
that get you into those alpha brain waves and those beta, theta type waves, right? And getting you more and more relaxed, more and more meditative, and more subconscious, right? So you can then tap into that and allow that subconscious vibration, which would be a really high vibration, right? To tap into a little
yeah,
bit more. So it's amazing. It's amazing.
yeah. And you can just put music on in the day and it doesn't take any extra effort. It's just
You know, we
calming your brain.
actually here at our house always have music going. Always have a spiritual kind of music in the background, high vibrational chanting in the background, and yeah, when you don't have a music that resonates with you, maybe you have to create
Yeah,
your own.
yeah,
Maybe you got to
exactly.
start making your own music. So that's the
Exactly.
other thing I would say. But
Yeah.
yeah, have something nice going in the background. I'll put on. I have some crystal bowls that are 12 hours long with a black screen on YouTube, so you can just put them in the background and let them play all day. That's
Yeah, well,
so
maybe I'll grab some of that and just put it at the end of the interview and people can get a feel for it.
yeah.
So where can people get hold
Yeah.
of you?
The best way to get a hold of me is through my website, www.terrestrialvibes.com, or you can find me on all of these social medias. Facebook is the easiest way to get in touch with me. I don't check the Instagram as much, but yeah. And yeah, you can always email me as well, Shayne Lacasse at terrestrialvibes.com.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I'll give you all the links and things.
Yeah, and I'll post them all below, yes. So if you say you do like a live, is it once a week or something like that? How would they
Yeah,
be able to come on to
I do. I do a weekly live on YouTube and Facebook, usually Sundays at 11 a.m. my time, which is Mountain Time in Canada. So it's actually, what is it, 6 p.m. in the UK. So, yeah. And 1 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
And that's a weekly show. I do live singing bowls. We do a little meditation at the beginning. I get you into a state. We do some crystal bowls. We set our intention, and then we put some crystal bowls to that intention, and then I bring you back. And yes, really good results from people with that. And I've been doing that for now this is my 4th season, 3 years of doing it. So I've take a little break and come back and start a new season weekly. It's a weekly thing. And yeah, on YouTube, I do have all my past videos and things like that as well. So if you want to go back and find something that specific for some specific type of healing, I do a lot of different kinds. So there's a lot to choose from crown chakra to liver healing to thyroid to physical things to spiritual things to past relationship healing, etc. So there's a gambit of different things to choose from on the YouTube channel as well. And I do encourage everybody to follow me on Facebook, as I have offerings there as well, and quotes and what do we call memes, pictures with words that I send out. I make them myself, so I send them out on my Facebook page. I'm a creative. And I enjoy doing that, sending out my intention, my vibration to the world, and helping others lift their vibration as well. So that's kind of what I do.
Lovely. Well, I'll see if I can join you this Sunday on your live.
Awesome. Yeah, I had to skip yesterday or 2 days ago because I was moving, so it was just quite a thing. But yeah, most Sundays I'm there.
That's life. That's life. We're okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Shayne, thank you so much.
A little bit, so yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. It's been a wonderful chat.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing all your knowledge.
And I'll send you some links and all that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate being here and I appreciate taking the time with you today. It's been nuts.
You're welcome. Are you still nervous?
Yeah,
no, finished.
You get flowing. You get into the.
Maybe I can bring you on in a couple of months and you can do a little bit of a demo. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, that'll be awesome. Cool. Great. Okay. Well, you have a fantastic. Is it evening? Morning.
It's the morning here. Day? It's the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm 6 p.m. now. I have to think time zones, but yeah.
Wonderful evening.
Yeah. Thank you so much.